Welcome inside the Broncos studio. I'm your host and team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, alongside our lead writer on DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla. Day 5 brought out intensity on the field, a good day on both sides of the ball. What stood out to you from practice?
Yeah, I think the physicality was evident, right? I think this may have been the most physical, the most intense practice that we've seen so far. It started really from the very beginning when you saw the one-on-one work between the receivers and the corners, and then the 9-on-7 run game action down at the other end of the field where Malcolm Roach made a stop in the backfield and then let everybody know about it. I saw somebody say that all of Arapahoe County could hear Malcolm Roach. He's a guy that likes to chirp, right? And yeah, I think you just saw the good competitiveness. There were no fights, there were no skirmishes, and I think that maybe separates this Broncos team from some other teams out there, is that they're able to be competitive and able to go after each other, right, without crossing that line. I think we saw it a couple times. Audric Estime ran over a linebacker, and then on the next play, that linebacker was able to deliver a hit on another running back. And so you look at that, you look at the way that, Dre Greenlaw has played during practice the last few days. I mean, you could just feel it out there, and you can tell that these guys are getting good work in.
Yeah, actually, when Courtland Sutton talked to the media, he mentioned, the practices are more competitive, they're more detailed, and everyone just feels really confident and really good about where they're at right now. Obviously, early days of training camp, when you look at the depth of the wide receiver position, I know Marvin Mims spoke about that, but the defense really put the pressure on him. You mentioned that. It was really fun seeing Courtland going against Pat on a few plays and just kind of seeing the intensity of the competitiveness that comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think this is a wide receiver group that is really intriguing, and Marvin Mims said people may not be paying enough attention to the depth that's there, right? And whether it was Troy Franklin, who made a couple really impressive catches during those one-on-one drills, both contested catches, which I think is a great sign of development from Troy Franklin to make those contested catches, whether it's Pat Bryant. Courtland Sutton, I thought, had a really productive day, especially in teamwork. We'll get there kind of in a second in terms of how that third down action went. But yeah, whether it's Marvin Mims making plays or Trent Sherfield made a couple of nice catches, this is a deep group, and I think that you'll see that kind of play out over the preseason and as we get in to the regular season. But the other end of that, right, is that the defense is testing them as well. And man, we'll get to it again with this third down action, but the pass rush doesn't give you a lot of time if you're the quarterback to get the ball out, so it helps the back end of the defense, but then the back end of the defense is also able to make those plays and give the pass rush some time to get there as well. So a really complete performance today by the defense. They had their share of wins, and then the offense went right back on a couple of plays.
Yeah, Marvin Mims said, there is that benefit of being able to go against this defense day and down. Regardless of the chirping, it's exciting to see where you kind of measure up, because Marvin Mims said it, this is probably going to be one of the best defenses going into the season. So knowing that you're practicing against that every single day and they're not necessarily taking it easy on them, that's another added value.
No, I mean, I'm just looking through my notes from practice, Nick Bonito probably would have had a sack at one point. Jonah Ellis probably would have had a sack. Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, Lavelle Bailey, still filling in for Alex Singleton as he rehabs an injury. Man, all these guys are applying pressure, making good plays. And I'm sure I've missed a couple that, these guys are they're giving the offensive line a good test, and it should pay dividends when we get to the fall.
Yeah, a couple guys that I talked to after just mentioned, they had this face, and I was like, are you upset? And they just kind of laughed and said, I can't wait to just be able to finish strong. That they're kind of hungry for that next step, and I know that preseason's inching closer, and they can't wait for that because they're excited to get another sense of that competition during practices and things like that. But it was really nice to see the guys out there just hungry to take that next step because they know what they're capable of, especially when you're going against top talent like this offense has, and you're going against top talent that this defense is holding onto. So when you talk about that third down work, what did you see? What stood out specifically from there?
Yeah, there were kind of a couple different practice periods, right? One was a third and short, third and medium sort of situation. The defense really did get the best of the offense in that, but then I liked how the offense was able to bounce back, and it may have been one of the more productive sessions that we've seen the offense have over the last few days. Bo Nix, couple of third down, and it was kind of a third and long situation. Had a nice throw down the seam to Courtland Sutton that was contested, and then later found Trent Sherfield for another first down. So despite the pressure, despite the great coverage on the back end, to see Bo Nix and the offense kind of adjust to that and find a way to make plays, that's encouraging. But again, you look at it, 2 wins for the offense, 2 wins for the defense in that period kind of shows you just how close things are and that they're really going back and forth.
Yeah, another bright spot was like the running backs. They did a lot of that run game work yesterday in practice, but for today, you saw a few cuts there that were pretty impressive too.
Yeah, I thought Dobbins, Audric Estime, Blake Watson, they all, especially Watson late in practice, as he got some reps, had a couple of great plays, but yeah, Dobbins stood out a little bit to me today. The run game had its moments as well.
Well, as always, Broncos Country, we have you covered with all the latest from training camp, so make sure you stay tuned.